Hi, this is Thelma. I'm going to discuss about the menstrual cycle today, and this is a phases of menstrual cycle. But now I'm going to deal about the menstrual cycle definition, which is very important to understand before heading to the phases of menstrual cycle. So this is the definition of menstrual cycle. So there are more definition I have mentioned in the later part, which is more in the simpler form. So actual definition here is a menstrual cycle is a shedding of lining of the uterus, which is also called the endometrium, and accompanied by the bleeding in response to the relation of hormones produced by the hypothalamus, anti-thyroid gland, and ovaries. So this is the actual definition, but I made it in a very simpler form. So that is one. Fertilization. Fertilization, I'm sure that everyone is very clear with that word. So fertilization is not occurring with the ovum. When the fertilization of the ovum does not occur, what will occur is that there will be the reduction or decrease in the sizes of the corpus luteum. So again, this further will lead to the decrease in the volume of the luteinizing hormones, which is also called with the acronym of LH, luteinizing hormones. And further, because of reduce of this corpus luteum luteinizing hormones and further reduction in the secretion of estrogen and progesterone are also reduced, thus leading to the shutting down of the endometrium or the lining of the uterus. As I mentioned in the previous definition, shedding of the endometrium or the lining of uterus. Similar to that, here also shedding of the endometrium is occurring because first thing is a fertilization of the ovum was not occurred. So thus this action will lead to the reduce in the corpus luteum sizes and further luteinizing hormones reduce and further secretion of estrogen and progesterone, which is a major part in the menstrual cycle as well as during the pregnancy, is reduced. So leading to the endometrium shutting down, which is called the menstrual cycle. So I made it in a very simpler form again. This is with a symbol of cross, which means that ovum fertilization was not occur. Furthermore, reduction in the corpus luteum, and furthermore with the luteinizing hormone reduced, and more further secretion of the estrogen and progesterone also reduced, leading to the endometrium shutting down, is called the menstrual cycle. And now again one more last in a simpler form of the definition is a menstrual cycle. As I said in earlier, it's a shedding down of the lining of uterus. What is meant by shedding is like a skin peeling off, right? When the skin is peeling off, what will come? A dry skin, right? Like that. In a menstrual cycle, the lining of the uterus, because lining of the uterus just coming down, or it is coming down as a act of the bleeding. This is a bleeding. So that lining of uterus is coming down, or the shedding. In a better way, we can say the shedding. Lining uterus coming down with the process of bleeding. We can see with the bleeding, this is occur in a relation to the hormones. Some hormones are making the menstrual cycle to come down, or the shedding taking place with the which is produced from the hypothalamus, which is in the brain, and anterior pituitary gland again is related to the hypothalamus and ovaries. These three part makes the hormones to fluctuate, leading to the process of the bleeding. Process of bleeding consists of the shedding of the lining of the uterus. So menstrual cycle in a simpler form is a shedding or coming of the lining of the uterus with the process of bleeding in relation to the hormones by the hypothalamus, anterior pituitary gland, and ovaries. Anterior pituitary gland, which will be you might get out with a posterior pituitary gland. So anterior pituitary gland will always plays major role with the menstrual cycle, and posterior will always goes to the breastfeeding. So these two should not get out that much only, and this is a simpler way of the menstrual cycle definition. And furthermore, I just want to mention some of the phases of the menstrual cycle, which is a very important part of your exam. So I have now mentioned some of the only points which we'll be dealing in the next video with the detail of that phases. So here, phases of menstrual cycle, there are 4 phases. So first phase is a menstrual phase, second is a follicular phase, and third is the ovulation phase, and fourth is the luteal phase. These 4 phases you should mention when you are getting the question with the menstrual cycle. And first of all, the definition should be mentioned clearly as I have mentioned in the previous slides. Hope you got the better idea of the menstrual cycle and the definition. And this is the just the diagram. You can write if you want, but this is not so necessary, but I just mentioned here to get a clear idea for you all. So this is a menstruation phase, follicular phase, ovulation phase, and luteal phase. That much. Thank you.